You know that feeling when something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it, like when you walk into a room and everyone goes quiet, or when your boyfriend starts taking longer to text you back, or when your own mother starts asking weird questions about your relationship. Questions that feel more like interrogations. That's where I was 3 weeks before everything fell apart. My name is Ava. I'm 28 years old. I work in marketing. I have a dog named Scout. And for 4 years, I thought I had a pretty good life. The kind of life where you're not obsessing over every little thing because you're actually happy. I had Ethan. We met at a friend's birthday party. He was quiet, thoughtful, worked in software development. We didn't have some crazy love at first sight story. We just made sense. We'd been talking about moving in together, about getting a dog, which we did, about maybe getting married in a few years when we felt ready, but something shifted around the spring. It was small at first. Ethan would come home later from work, saying there were projects running late. He'd scroll on his phone more. He started going to the gym 3 times a week instead of twice. Nothing dramatic. Nothing you could point to and say, that's it. That's the problem. Just a slow, quiet distance. My sister Lily is 2 years younger than me. She's always been the golden child, if I'm being honest. She's prettier in a conventional way, taller, better with makeup, the kind of person who photographs well. She's also smarter than me, at least academically. She got a full ride to a state school. I went to community college and worked my way up. Mom never let me forget that difference. Lily and Ethan had always been friendly. He'd come to family dinners and they'd talk about TV shows or whatever. It was normal. Sibling, in-law territory. But around the same time, Ethan started pulling away from me. I noticed Lily smiling differently when he was around, and he'd hold her gaze a second too long. I didn't say anything. Not yet, I just watched. My mom called me one Tuesday in March. This was unusual. She mostly texted. But she wanted to have lunch. Just the two of us. We went to this cafe near her office, the kind of place where everything costs $8 and they spell your name wrong on the cup. She ordered a salad, no dressing. She was always doing some diet or another. "How are things with Ethan?" she asked, not looking at me while she cut her lettuce into tiny pieces. "They're fine." I said I wasn't in the mood to tell her that they weren't fine. "Why?" "No reason. Do you think you two are really compatible long term?" I remember setting down my fork. "Where is this coming from?" "I'm just thinking about your future, honey. You're not getting any younger. 4 years is a long time to date someone if you're not sure about it." "I am sure about it." I lied. Even then, I wasn't sure. But I wasn't about to admit that to her. She smiled at me, and it was the kind of smile that made my stomach drop. It wasn't warm. It was knowing. Like she had information I didn't. "Just want what's best for you," she said, and went back to her salad. I didn't think about that conversation much at the time. My mom was always saying vaguely unsettling things. That was just how she was. But now, looking back, I realized that was the moment she was testing me, figuring out if I'd catch on. I didn't. The first real sign came on a Friday night in April. Ethan and I were supposed to go to dinner, just as something we hadn't done in weeks. But he texted me at 5 that he had to take a call with a client in San Francisco. They were 9 hours ahead. It was urgent. "Rain check," he wrote. I said okay, and I meant it. But something in me didn't believe him. I don't have a great excuse for what I did next. I'm not someone who checks phones or goes through pockets. I don't like those kinds of games. But I was standing in our bedroom, and his laptop was on the bed, and it was open, and an email notification popped up. I saw it for maybe 2 seconds before I closed it. It was from Lily. The subject line said, "Mom's plan might actually work." My hands went cold, like genuinely cold. I stood there in our bedroom for probably 5 minutes, just breathing, not moving, not thinking, just existing in the moment where I knew something was wrong, but I hadn't let myself fully understand it yet. I didn't open the email. I don't know why. Maybe because I wasn't ready. Maybe because part of me knew that once I saw the words, I couldn't unsee them. Instead, I went downstairs. Ethan was on the couch, his phone to his ear, and I couldn't tell if he was actually on a call or just pretending. He gave me this guilty look, a real, unmasked look, and then turned away. That's when I knew. Not the details. Not yet. But I knew enough. I went through the motions that night like I was watching myself from outside my body. I made dinner. We ate in mostly silence. I asked him how his call went, and he gave me a short answer. I suggested we watch a show, and we did, but I didn't absorb a single word of it. When he finally went to bed, I sat on the couch in the dark for a long time. The next morning, I told Ethan I was going to my friend Rachel's place for the night. He seemed relieved. That stung more than anything else. The relief. At Rachel's apartment, I sat on her couch with a glass of wine I didn't really want, and I told her what I'd seen. "Lily," she said, "your sister." "Iva, I know what it is," I said. "What are you going to do?" I didn't answer because I didn't know. I just sat there, turning the wine glass around in my hands, watching the light catch the liquid inside. What I should have done was confront him. What I should have done was call my mom and scream at her. What I should have done was a lot of things. But I didn't. I did something quieter. I started paying attention. I started noticing things. The way Ethan left his phone face down on the table now. The way he'd go to the bathroom and take it with him. The way my mom had started calling more often, always with questions about Ethan. Where he was from. Whether his family had money. Whether he seemed ambitious. It took 3 weeks of watching before I had enough proof to put the pieces together. 3 weeks of sitting in my own life like I was an observer. 3 weeks of Ethan lying to my face. 3 weeks of my mom setting everything up like she was rearranging furniture. And when I finally understood what they'd all done, what they decided about me without asking, I stopped being sad. I got quiet. And quiet is when I started planning. The thing about being betrayed by people who think you're not paying attention is that they get sloppy. They think they're smarter than you. They think they've already won. That first week after I knew, I didn't confront anyone. I didn't cry where they could see me. I didn't blow up the group chat. I just worked. Methodically. Like I was solving a problem at my job, which in a weird way I was. I created a new email address. Gmail, nothing traceable to me. I used it to set up a recovery account on my shared Netflix subscription, the one Ethan and I had used for years. Ethan never changed the recovery email. People don't think about those things. They assume the people closest to them won't dig. From there, I could see his password reset attempts. I could see what devices he was using to log in. It sounds more dramatic than it is. I wasn't hacking. I was just paying attention to the information he'd left lying around. I also started going through our phone bill. We had a family plan, me, Ethan, and it turned out Lily was on there too. I never even knew that. When had that happened, I called the provider and asked when Lily's line was added just last month. Just after I'd first noticed Ethan pulling away. That's when I started writing things down. Not in my phone. On paper. In a notebook I kept in my desk at work. I know how that sounds. Like I was obsessed. Like I was becoming some kind of crazy ex. But I wasn't doing it for drama. I was doing it because I needed to understand the timeline. I needed to see how deep this went. The next piece fell into place at a family dinner. My mom had invited me. Just me, not Ethan. Girl time. She'd said. It was me, my mom, Lily, and my aunt Carol. We went to an Italian place in the city, somewhere with dim lighting and overpriced pasta. Lily wouldn't stop touching her hair, twirling it, flipping it, this nervous habit she has when she's lying or hiding something. She barely ate anything, just pushed her food around. My mom kept giving her these approving looks, like Lily was doing great at what? Sitting there, being alive. My Aunt Carol is my mom's sister, and she's nothing like my mom. She's direct. She says things. So when there was this awkward silence and Lily kept touching her hair, Carol said, "Okay, what's going on? You guys are being weird." I watched my mom's face. She was deciding something. Calculating whether the secret was worth more as a secret or as leverage. Lily and Ethan have been spending a lot of time together. My mom said, finally. Like she was announcing something proud. They've developed feelings for each other. My aunt looked at me. I could see the moment she realized I didn't know. Her face went soft and sad, which somehow was worse than any pity would have been. And Carol asked, looking directly at my mom, "What does that have to do with you telling your daughter's boyfriend how to feel?" "I didn't tell him anything," my mom said, but her voice was defensive. I just expressed concerns about whether Ava and Ethan were really right for each other, and I may have mentioned that Lily and he had similar interests. "You're a grown woman," Carol said, "and you're meddling in your daughter's relationship." "I'm protecting Lily's future," my mom said. "Ethan is a good man with good prospects. Lily is more equipped to. To what? I heard myself say. I'd been quiet the whole time, and everyone turned to look at me. To what, Mom? Say it. She looked at me like I was disappointing her. To be a better partner for him. You know it's true, Ava. Lily is more stable, more driven. She has better connections. She understands business. You work in social media marketing. Marketing, I said quietly. Whatever. The point is, Ethan needs someone who can match his ambition. I remember the exact feeling in that moment. It wasn't anger. It was clarity. It was understanding that my mom didn't see me as a person. She saw me as a project she'd failed to execute properly. And Lily was the do-over. I didn't say anything else. I just excused myself to the bathroom and sat in the stall for 5 minutes, breathing. When I came back, the table was tense. Carol was clearly furious with my mom. Lily was staring at her plate, and my mom was smiling, like she'd won something. I paid for my portion of the meal. I was careful about that, about not being obligated to them in any way. And I left early. I told them I wasn't feeling well. In my car, I sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes, and I made a list on my phone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Email evidence between Ethan and Lily. Lily on phone bill added by mom. Mom's own admission at dinner. Timeline of Ethan's distance need. Direct communication evidence. That last one was the piece I was still missing. I had circumstantial evidence. I had my mom's confession to my aunt, but I needed something undeniable. I needed Ethan or Lily to actually say what they were doing. I got it 3 days later. I'd set up my laptop in the living room one morning while Ethan was at work. I opened the Wi-Fi settings and created a guest network with the password written on a post-it next to the router. Then I waited. When Ethan came home, he connected to it immediately. Habit. And because he trusted me, or didn't think I'd look. I'm not proud of what I did next. I used a packet sniffer to capture network traffic. I know that sounds technical. It's not that complicated. It just means I could see which websites he was visiting, what messages were going through certain apps. He was texting with Lily on an encrypted app. I couldn't read the content, but I could see the frequency. Hundreds of messages, back and forth constantly. And there was one message to my mom that came through on his phone email. Your plan worked. She has no idea what's happening. Ava's going to be devastated, but honestly, Lily and I both think this is for the best. I wasn't going to marry Ava anyway. You basically just accelerated the inevitable. I read that message 4 times, and then I read it 4 more times. I wasn't going to marry him. I'd been planning a life with someone who had already decided that life was over. And my mom had known it. My mom had orchestrated it. And my sister had gone along with it. That's when the revenge part stopped being abstract. I didn't do anything dramatic that day. I just closed my laptop. I let Scout out in the backyard. I made tea. I existed through the rest of the day like nothing had changed. But inside, everything had shifted. I started making calls. Quietly. Strategically. First to Rachel, my friend who worked in PR. I told her everything. Not to vent. To get her perspective on how to handle what was coming. You can't just blow this up, she said. People are going to take sides. They always do. But if you're smart about this, if you let it come from multiple sources... She was right. The best revenge wasn't a confrontation. The best revenge was the truth, told strategically, to the right people, at the right time. So I started making a list of who needed to know. Not everyone. That would seem like drama. But specific people. People who would care. People who Ethan and my mom and Lily would care about them knowing. Ethan's best friend from college, his parents. My mom's close friend group. The ones who were always at book club and yoga. People who would spread it not out of malice, but out of genuine concern for me. And I waited for the right moment. The right moment came 2 weeks later when Ethan finally asked me to sit down so we could talk. We sat on opposite ends of the couch. Scout was sleeping between us. I hadn't moved him. I wanted that physical reminder of what Ethan and I had built together. Not that it mattered. He'd already decided it didn't mean anything. I don't know how to say this, Ethan started. Then don't. I said, I already know. He looked surprised. For a second, I think he thought I was going to scream at him. Beg him to stay. Give him some kind of emotional release to justify what he'd done. I've been seeing Lily, he said anyway, like he needed to say it out loud, like it would somehow make it real in a way that was different from the reality I already knew. And my mom set it up, I said. He flinched. Not set it up. She just mentioned that Lily and I had a lot in common, and one thing led to another. Ethan, she called me. She told my aunt that she orchestrated this because she thinks Lily is a better investment. Her words. Investment. He didn't say anything, just looked at his hands. So what now? I asked. You're breaking up with me. You're moving in with my sister. You're going to be at every family dinner, and I'm just supposed to accept that. I don't know, he said, and he actually sounded sad, like he was the victim. I wasn't happy anymore, Ava. And when I started talking to Lily, it was like I remembered what happy felt like. So you cheated on me with my sister to remember what happy felt like. It wasn't cheating. Not technically. Nothing physical happened until... Stop, I said. I don't need the timeline. I know the timeline. The conversation ended like most breakups do, with a lot of nothing being said. He offered to move out. I told him to take his time. We both knew we were being polite for Scout's benefit, or maybe just because we were both tired. He left 3 days later. He found an apartment with a roommate from work. Conveniently, Lily helped him move. I watched from the kitchen window as they carried boxes to his car, laughing about something. That's when I started making my calls. I called Ethan's mother first, not to vent, just to give her information. I told her that her son had ended our 4-year relationship and that he was now with my sister, which fine, that's his choice. But I wanted her to know the full context, that my mother had deliberately interfered in our relationship because she thought Lily was a better investment. I'm not saying this to be mean. I told her, carefully. I just think you should know how he ended the relationship, and you should probably know that your son was okay with being manipulated by my mom and my sister to get what he wanted. Ethan's mother was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Thank you for telling me. I appreciate your honesty." She called Ethan that night. He called me 2 hours later, angry. "What did you tell my mom?" "The truth," I said. "You're trying to turn people against me." "I'm not trying to do anything, Ethan. I'm just making sure people have the information they need to make their own judgments about you." He hung up. Next, I reached out to Rachel's mom. Rachel's mom knew my mom from community stuff. They were on some nonprofit board together. I sent her a direct message asking if I could grab coffee. We met at a cafe. I brought the screenshots. Not all of them, just enough to show the pattern. I didn't cry, I didn't get emotional. I just presented the facts. My mom deliberately convinced my boyfriend that I wasn't right for him and that my sister was better. She called it an investment in Lily's future. I'm not asking you to do anything about it. I'm just asking you to know what kind of person she is and to make your own decision about whether you want to keep being friends with her. Rachel's mom looked shocked. She looked sad. She told me she was sorry, and she meant it. By the end of that week, my mom's friend group had fractured, not dramatically. There was no big confrontation, but they started canceling plans. They started being busy when she reached out. One of them, Patricia, who'd been in book club with my mom for 15 years, directly told her that what she'd done was manipulative and cruel. My mom called me after that. "You're lying to people about me," she said. "I'm telling people the truth," I said. "You're being vindictive. You're being bitter because you lost a man. I'm being honest because you lied about me. You told Ethan I wasn't ambitious enough. You told him I couldn't match his success. You made it your mission to break us up. And I'm just making sure people understand who you are." She hung up on me. Lily was next. I didn't call her. I ran into her at a grocery store 2 weeks later. She was in the produce section looking at avocados, and she froze when she saw me. "Ava," she said. "Hey," I said back, and I smiled, a real smile. "How's it going with Ethan?" Her face went red. "We're just seeing where things go. That's nice." "I'm glad you're getting what you wanted. I hope he makes you happy. I really do. But I want you to know something." I stepped closer, and she took a step back. "He told me he was never going to marry me anyway. That mom just accelerated the inevitable. So when it falls apart with you, and it will, because he's the kind of guy who can be convinced by someone's mother to leave someone he's been with for 4 years. Don't say I didn't warn you." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said it calm and clear and walked away. Lily tried to call me 3 times that week. I didn't answer. What happened next wasn't because of anything I did, exactly. It was just the natural consequence of people knowing the truth. Ethan's friends, the ones who actually mattered, started responding to him differently. One of them told him directly, "The way you handled this is not cool, man." It's one thing to break up with someone. It's another to let someone's mother be part of the decision. His mom started being cold with him. She didn't yell. She just withdrew. She'd had dinner plans with him and Lily, and she canceled. She said she needed time to process things. At work, somehow people found out. Not from me. I never told anyone at work, but in the way information moves through social circles, it spread. The girl who broke up her sister's relationship. The guy who let his girlfriend's mom convince him to cheat. The controlling mother. It was a narrative, and everyone had an opinion about it. 3 months later, Ethan and Lily broke up. I found out through a mutual friend. Apparently, they'd had a big fight about his commitment level. He wasn't ready to propose. Lily had wanted certainty. They wanted different things. I didn't feel vindicated. I didn't feel happy. I just felt tired. But I also felt something else. I felt like my life was mine again. I kept Scout. I kept my apartment. I kept my job and my real friends and my sense of who I was. What I didn't keep was any of the people who had decided my life wasn't worth protecting. My mom sent me a text 6 months after the breakup. I miss you. I made mistakes. Can we talk? I didn't respond for 3 weeks. When I did, I just said, I'm not ready. And I wasn't. I'm still not sure if I ever will be. Some betrayals don't have easy resolutions. Some people don't deserve second chances, no matter who gave birth to them. But here's what I learned. The best revenge isn't about destroying people. It's about telling the truth and then stepping out of the way. Let people make their own decisions about what they think about you. Let them deal with the consequences of their own choices. Don't fight their battles for them. Just make sure they can't lie about you anymore. Ethan is single now. Lily is dating someone else. My mom still sends me messages sometimes, which I read but rarely respond to. Our family is fractured, maybe permanently, and I'm okay with that because I'm happy. Actually happy. Not the kind of happiness that depends on someone else choosing me every day, but the kind that comes from knowing who you are and not letting anyone rewrite that story. That's not just revenge, that's freedom. That's the whole story. From the moment Iva realized she was being betrayed to the moment she reclaimed her life. And here's what makes it different from every other revenge story out there. Iva didn't need to scream, fight, or destroy anyone. She just told the truth, and the truth did all the work. That's real revenge. That's how it actually happens in life. If this story hit you, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, if your own family has ever let you down, if you know what it feels like to have your life rearranged without your permission, you need to be part of this community. Hit that subscribe button right now. Every single subscriber tells us to keep making stories like this. Stories that don't sugarcoat reality. Stories that show you how real people handle real betrayal. Like this video. If Ava's quiet strength resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone. And comment below. Have you ever been betrayed by someone close to you? How did you handle it? What does real revenge look like to you? We read every comment. We see you, and your story matters. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next story. Because some betrayals change everything, and some people deserve to lose exactly what they took for granted. This has been a story of revenge, betrayal, and reclaiming your power. Thanks for watching.